Hello, welcome everybody. Namaste. Hello, welcome everybody. Namaste. So good to see you. Hi. Oh, Indamate. Hi. Hi, everybody. So welcome to this Culture Over Coffee. We have our guests here and people here. So let's begin. Namaste. My name is Chetna, and I welcome you all to this space. Thank you, everybody, for your presence. So I work at Rangbhumi, and my colleague Roshan is here to assist you with any other technical guidance that you would require through the show. So why this event? Well, this event has, of course, a story. So it was in the year 2020, we all know when COVID struck and sent everybody home. Theater and social sector had to disappear into thin air. And since schools were shut down, we were also grounded. The work that we do with school, but the situation brought us online back, and we initially started our work just as an observation mode. But we started exploring different theater aesthetics, different people around the country, and different people around the countries, their theater aesthetics, and some of them are right here in this room. Uh, I would say the person who really pushed us was Yuri to come online and do a theater show. We didn't even know each other, and he said, "Come do a show." And then I see Sanjay Ganguly right there. I said, "I'm going to perform a forum with Sanjay's presence," but we did it, and it kind of gave us the impetus and encouragement. And then we traveled geography, and geography was not a handicap, of course, no longer. We could share so much food, habits, nuances, even trivial way people may feel, but family traditions we all started to exchange. And our latest collaboration for the PPLG Festival with a Dutch playback theater group also brewed through these times. And amidst all this, I also went back to my childhood memory where I thought about and remembered my own time at the hills of India, that's Dehradun, where we were a culturally integrated society, and the way the culture broadened my own thinking and belief. So, with this culture brewing in this room today with newer, innovative, and more fresh elements, let's welcome all of you today. And I must say that the person who really got me again back to this the festival is Yuri again. He really shared a link one day, and I said, okay, let's go for it. So I must thank Yuri, and then definitely Cambodian Living Arts and the Asian European Festival Society, who are because of whom we are here today. So, well, let's get started then. So we have an amazing person right here who's going to lead us and through our show, and that's Nico. Let's welcome Nico, who's going to be yes.
Good. Thank you so much.
And
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. And hello, everyone. Welcome to this wonderful, amazing people. Yes, my name is Nico Ndlovu. I'm from Zimbabwe, based in Glasgow, in Scotland. And yeah, I'm so excited to be here. So the house rules, I think, is very simple. So every speaker has got 10 minutes to 12 minutes. So yeah, and I always start with this joke. It's true story because English is not my first language, guys. If I ever call your name wrong, please forgive me, or you can Google it if you don't understand what I'm saying. That's what I can say. So yes, not waste no time. So I'm gonna start with our first guest speaker on the stage. Are you guys ready to welcome this man? His name is Panakaji Tiwari. I'm gonna read the story about it. It's very exciting. Actually, I'm trying to say we need to pay attention to this man. What I'm holding here is got all the best information, which means I have to share with you. So Panakaji sort of said, forgive me if your name is not right, but at least you know I'm trying to talk to you. So yes, let's welcome. So I'm gonna read a bit about this fantastic artist or producer. I call him whatever he likes. So Pankaji is a theater maker and a creator from India, currently based in Amsterdam. He's currently working and a co-creator with Zurich. That's a German I can't do in Switzerland. So I'm not going to talk much because every introduction is more than 2 minutes, so we have less time. So just please, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Pankaj. I'm a theatre maker and curator, and currently based in Amsterdam, and work with Giznale Theatre in Zurich as one of the member of program board and curator. Yeah, I think that's enough, more than enough. And at the moment, I'm talking to you all exactly with the coffee over culture, at a cafe in Zurich, where I'm part of as an artist for a festival called About Us. So yeah. And it's yeah. Oh, okay. Cheers. Yeah, I think this is enough for me. Otherwise, there are things available on internet. You know, this is the time of internet, so you can find everything about people on internet.
Okay, I thought you were gonna tell us more, like, cause we're all here to hear you more. Like, what's new? What's the next what's the next thing you got for us? Where can we watch a show? Yeah, what's going on exactly?
So no, at the moment I'm here in Zurich, but so should I talk about like?
Yes, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, you got 10 minutes. Yes, good.
Oh, perfecto for the Italians. Okay, yeah. So I mean, there are a lot of things which I was doing during COVID times, which I could share. But there's one project which I would like to talk about is called the Art of Walking, and which I created during COVID, the first time, the first pandemic, and it was actually a walk from Amsterdam to Calais in France. So it was a 356-kilometer walk, which I did with another collaborator called Abhishek Thapar here in Amsterdam. He was also an Amsterdam-based artist, Indian artist, and the work came from the migrant situation and the issue what was happening back home in India, and because during the lockdown, the state closed the transportation as well as the people were jobless. So the migrant workers who were living in the cities, they were left with nothing, and then they had to walk back to their homes and villages. And because the transportation system was shut, so they started walking. And these distances was from 200 kilometers to 2,200 kilometers. It was like really long walk. And I come from North India. Balrampur is the district, which is part of Uttar Pradesh. And mostly Uttar Pradesh and Bihar are two states which are like quite backward states. So a lot of migration happened from there. So while this all was happening in India, here in Amsterdam, we all was, we all were having baking breads, you know, and learning how to bake breads, make pastas, putting some, this was happening in Europe. And there was a festival in UK which invited me to create a work, but they called me that I'm a migrant artist. And coming from a land which was a land of migrant, and this was happening for me, it was, it provoked me that what is the situation of migration in Europe and what is happening here, you know, having certain papers and documents give you so much authority and liberty, but if you don't have the same things, then what happened to you? And especially in a globalized world where equal opportunity should be a value, what is the situation of the migrant here in Europe? And this was something which I wanted to connect. And when I started researching the Calais in France, like almost all of you might remember, no, but if not, then maybe you should research. Like this is a place where a lot of refugees and migrants wait to enter in UK. So this is a place. So there's the ocean at the border of the French and the UK border, and just you have to cross the border to reach UK. So like huge jungle has been constructed to put these refugees, and they are not allowed to enter. So this is where I was connecting, and for me, it was important because at the moment, even the European art world and art market, there are certain terms which are thrown by the capitalist structure, and we all grab that and we all work on that, whether it's traveling by flight is bad or gender issues are. But for me, art is also something which should respond there and now. And when like for example, now Afghanistan is facing a lot of issues, but a lot of festival which is happening here in Zurich at the moment don't talk about this, because they will talk about this next year when the violence is done, when the people are dead, then they will be able to capitalize it. But where are we as artists when these things are happening is something which is valuable and important for me. And I feel that art should create discourses, not just follow discourses by the market. So that is why we wanted to respond at that moment. And through Art of Walking, which was supported by almost all the theater and production houses in Europe, and we could support 150 families in India who are the migrant workers for 3 months from the resources which were generated by the work. So yeah, I mean, I don't have, and I didn't put any slide or something, but if you search Art of Walking, there enough material available online. So yeah, this was the work which I created during COVID, and the work was not a protest, it was not a charity thing, but for us it was important as artists to talk about an issue at the moment when it needs most, So yeah. If there's any question you can ask, I think this is enough.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. That's really powerful. That's really, really amazing. Yeah, and your good work as well. I think I wish you all the best. Keep going, because the world is a little bit mixed up in the moment. And we can also, I'll give you my blessing. I think I'm going to give the audience maybe like 1.5 minutes to ask any questions to the speaker. No one? Okay, cool. So we're going to move on. Thank you so much again, Fagash, for talking to us. Please don't go away. If you got time, just listen to other speakers as well.
Nico, there's a question in the chat by Preeti.
Okay. Oh, there's a question on the chat. Thank you so much.
I
missed that one.
Preeti asked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My connection is a little bad here, so I'm just typing in.
No problem. Yeah, no, thanks a lot for asking the question. What were the challenges in the process? So one challenge was that the walk was, it was a walk in 3 countries, Netherlands, Belgium, and France. And I am not a white person. And this was a COVID time, so during COVID, even travel in these countries was quite restricted, So this was the first challenge. But what we did, we write to all the theater production houses which are supporting us to give a letter that it was an artwork which we were doing, so we had no problem. The second thing was that the first important problem was that people were not able to accept this as art, because it was for them activism, and there's a very thin for me it is art. Like how can you differentiate between life, art, and living practices? Certain living practices, if you displace in other context, it is art. And art is like contextualizing of the work rather than like for me, like cooking can be art, and for somebody cooking can be just cooking. So that was one challenge, and I wrote maybe I will send to Chetna, and Chetna can share. I wrote why it is art for me and why it is not a charity, or why it is not activism, or why it's not a protest. So that was one challenge, to contextualize and share and able to create a language where people here can also understand it was. So that was the second thing. The third thing was, it was really a long walk, and the weather conditions were not quite good. Even it was summer in Europe, but last year summer was like really windy and really rain. So yeah, those challenges were there, except and finding the places in the night to sleep. But I think there was all the challenges were turned into learnings, and I really feel that it was an interesting experience for me also as an artist. It changed me a lot. The overall project changed me a lot. But maybe I will share a document about what it was and why it was to Chetna, and Chetna can share to Preeti and others as well.
Thank you, Pankaj.
Thank you so much. We're gonna move on. Thank you so much for that. So I hope everybody's okay. Good. So we're gonna move on to the next speaker. The next guest speaker is a friend, and I'm so excited because it's easy to introduce him. Because yeah, I know a little bit, a lot. And so what I'm gonna do, guys, to make life easier for all of us, I think as a guest, when he starts speaking, if I miss something, just introduce yourself again, so we can all have a better understanding. So that's what I can do. Yes, the next speaker is gonna be yeah, one of the, I'll call him the best friend now, and we're still learning to each other. And yeah, that's gonna be Uri Noe Meir. And Uri, he was born in a small village near the Sea of Galal in Israel, I guess. And now he's based in, he lives in Italy. So yeah, I know Uri, we've been doing some work together, but please, before I waste so much time, because I can see the time is running fast. So Uri, introduce yourself. Just, yeah, 10 to 12 minutes, that'd be great.
Yeah, thank you, Nico. Yeah, it's great to be here. And it's funny. I like how, you know, you say my name differently every time. And that's a new way of saying my name. That's cool. And also you said, instead of Galilee, you said Galil, which is more near to the Hebrew or Arabic sound of the actual place, which is nice. Also, it makes me remember the names, you know, we give places and people names, but then it changes in the language, you know, and sometimes then I do a lot of mistakes, you know. I live in a country that is not my country. I lived for 10 years in Italy. I come from the Galilee, from Israel, Palestine. That's another story. But mostly, you know, living in another country, you make a lot of mistakes. But what I learned about that is that if you want to live in that place, you need to accept your own mistakes. That you will make mistakes, otherwise you wouldn't speak to anyone. You know, you basically. So that's what I really appreciate about being a foreigner. You know, I'm not saying a migrant, because I'm a privileged foreigner. You know, I have the right kind of skin, and the right kind of education and connections, but at the same time, you know, I am a foreigner in a place where it's not your land somehow. So that brings a lot of challenges, but opportunities, no? So for example, like being allowed to make mistakes, or giving yourself the allowance to make mistakes and invent the language as you speak. So, you know, I feel like, I don't know what exactly to say. I didn't really prepare, but I love, first of all, I want to say, I really love the project of Pankaj. We didn't meet. I think it's the only person here that I haven't met before. And it's very much resonate with what I consider art. You know, so what's the art that I'm interested in is something like that. Is something that is not separate from life. You know, sometimes the idea of art is as something that is separate. That's something that that happens within a bubble. You know, like the theater is a bubble, or you know, and it also, it has this kind of aesthetic rules that differentiate it from the world. But I really believe that art should be in the world, is the world, and the idea is that we become the art, and through, you know, that's the living artist, the living art, and that we're all artists. So in my life I've been inspired by many great teachers and writings like Augusto Boal and Theater of the Oppressed, and I feel to share a little bit about Imagine Action and meeting Hector 10 years ago, or already more than 10 years ago. And Hector Arisizabal is Colombian, and he started Imagine Action, and we met in Nepal, and then in India. We shared a room in India. We shared a bed in India because the festival organized these rooms for jokers from around the world, and this is all double bed. So it was a very cool way to kind of say, like, to mix everyone together, to book a lot of double rooms and put people And it wasn't really a life-changing meeting for me, because I felt that there was someone there seeing me. And so became a mentor. And for me, that has become really important, the mentoring, being seen and seeing other people as part of the life arts and arts life interest of mine. I then went to work with Hector in Northern Ireland, working with Catholic and Protestant communities and mixed groups, and I've done some more work with him, and mostly, but the work was mostly internal in a way, or this kind of relationship of mentoring, and this finding healing and medicine in the wounds, in the brokenness, in my own story, in the social story, my life as an Israeli man, soldier, constructed, seeing the pain, causing pain, the violence within me, finding that there is a wound and there is a blessing, there is a medicine hidden in that, and finding ways to express that in different ways, and finding ways to hold space for my own brokenness and together with others, so that has been very important. And I think what happened in the lockdown, and in Italy, we were very fast to go into lockdown. We started with this whole pandemic stuff and lockdown, national lockdown. I saw it as a great opportunity, and I still see it as a great opportunity. And I cannot really explain all of the opportunities, but I think part of it was there was very powerful moment of the silence that came when all the roads got silent and nature kind of awoke. There was this beautiful moment there that, and there was something else. And I guess this is the spaces here we're creating here, we're engaging with, that I feel we're still discovering the space, this possibility to connect, this need to connect, and this, also blessings that we can find in the technology that allows us to connect right now. And how can art live in this hybrid world, sometimes locked down, sometimes reconnected? And I think a lot of things have happened since in Imagine Action, with a kind of an intention that was a little bit dormant, and a seed about a global mentoring and transferring knowledge, and then kind of like an exploding of energies and connections that are still kind of growing. Now, I think in the last year, there have been dozens of people attracted to different programs and creating programs. So I just got an email about a new program that's going to be launched, and an image of it, and it was very beautiful. So yeah, so that's my story. I feel the lockdown has brought me closer to the screen, but also closer to some kind of vision of a world beyond the screen. There is something beyond the screen. I'm putting my hands behind the screen, and it extends, right? So it extends. And there is a space, and that's what I'm interested right now.
Oh, okay, Uri. I'm sure I'm saying Uri. I think that's the way I can call your name. I've got a question for you. Can you just tell us a bit about Gaia experience?
Yes. Gaia? So yeah, thank you for reminding me. So the voice in Gaia is, I think, something interesting happening right now, in which we start a production or a co-production around giving voice to the earth and embodying the earth. And there has been different cells and opportunities arising from that. So we created some videos of people embodying and playing the earth voices, and we sent it to an exhibition. So we got accepted. So that will be starting in September. There is a group of people writing a play. We had a deadline the other day, but we said it's not ready. So it's going to be sent for another deadline, writing a play with the same concept. And I know you, Nico, and Inge Mette were working on something for Glasgow with the young people and with comedians. And I think there is an intention there to build up a movement of artists and social artists and facilitators and maybe towards the COP26 and beyond, in terms of what can art help in amplifying the voice of nature, and the voice of nature, which is us. That's the capacity within art to connect with things that are not visible, also make them visible. So speaking as the earth and giving that voice, yeah, and also being nature, being earth, as a realization, as a choice, for necessary choice for moving forward in this messed up story we're living in. But like I said before, in the wound, in the brokenness, there is a blessing, and finding that collectively as well.
Oh, thank you. That's amazing. Is anyone got any questions for Uri for 1.5 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next speaker? No, that's great. I hope everybody's enjoying this. Everybody's okay. That's great. For the next speaker, I'm just gonna hand over to Chetna. She's gonna introduce. I think it's a student speaker. So I'm gonna hand over to Chetna to introduce the next guest speaker.
Thanks. Yuri, you were saying something, yes.
Yeah, just that if people are interested in imagineaction.org, you can go to the website, and imagineaction.org/voicing Gaia. You will also find some information and the first videos of the project, and also an invitation to send more materials and engage. So definitely go there. And yeah, and we have the podcast as well, where Nico is there as well. So check out the podcast. We had some very beautiful conversation.
Thank you, Uri. Thank you, Nico, for doing this wonderfully well. So it's my turn, and with me is Mehrotra and Roshan, and we are going to share with you the project of Raise Your Hands Only If You Know the Right Answer, that we created almost a year and a half ago. And it's very ironical that this project started with passing away of a celebrity actor in India, and which probably was labeled as, of course, a suicidal attempt, but that angered me a lot because it triggered a lot in me about my own memories of exclusion, and how as a child maybe I was excluded in a lot of ways because of my body image, because of the marks. I used to be a great scholar student, and I was excluded because of that a lot of times. So though, and I kind of was very angry on that day, and I wanted to create something out of my anger and make my anger more potent. And ironically, today we got news of another actor passing away this afternoon, of the same age, and he looks similar, they have similar faces. So very ironic day. Well, what we did with our team at Rangbhumi, we thought we could create something, and the name that one of our teammates, Suraj, gave was Raise Your Hands Only If You Know the Right Answer. So a lot of times we all know that students who are great or speak well or are out there are always asked to speak, and there's no room for just a response or just a smile. We have to have the answers first of all. So, and that travels and moves with us through our lives, across boardrooms, where we are as a husband, a wife, a partner, and so much more than the pressure of just being right all the time. So we created this forum theater performance, which was taken from Augusto Boal's work and his simultaneous dramaturgy, and also borrowing some work from David Diamond's work, Theater for Living. And we created this and performed for children across nationalities. There were children in India, children in UK, in Spain, in University of Washington, children studying theater of the oppressed work there, adults, teachers across the world. So we would like to show some of the pictures that we have had experiences. And then we have Mehrotra sharing his live experience as a performer. So that's the second slide. Yes. So this was our first show, our opening show, where we had a lot of So forum theater, for people who are watching us and would, just for your knowledge, is a technique under Theatre of the Oppressed, where we project, we play, perform a conflict, and we also pause the conflict at various spaces and invite the spectators to create possibility or become change agents for that space. So Raise Your Hands had a lot of stakeholders, a child who was struggling to speak in the class about a grandmother's story, which was also the correct story, which when the teacher asked him, he was snubbed. And there was another stakeholder, the father of the child, who was struggling in his own way of making him a businessman, because artists, of course, we know in most of our societies don't get paid much. And then there was this teacher struggling about the curriculum. And then there was this principal who wanted results, money, billboards outside. So we had many stakeholders, and if you see, there are voices blindfolded. There are voices of society, voices of report card, voices of expectations. It was a brilliant performance. We got a lot of interventions about how the child's voice could be amplified. The teacher could just breathe a little in the class and just say, how are you, to start the class with, interventions as humane as that. This was again a show for the Mental Health Day in India, where we had a different setup. We had parents, a lot of parents watching this, who definitely showed concern on how marks definitely create a lot of pressures on them too as parents. We went to University of Washington in a college. We were doing a performance for the youth there who was studying Theatre of the Oppressed as a curriculum in their studies of theatre. And they also resonated. In fact, the teachers also spoke of how they resonated with a lot of thoughts that the forum portrayed. And then we also, this is another desk. This is a picture we are performing for children in Westminster City Lions. And it was very interesting that a child spoke, I remember, about a metaphor during the performance that, that, Chetna, children and students and teachers are like oil and water. They may exist, but they never mix. So for us, the world is very clear. We can be, but we cannot mix. So I still remember those words. And this is for Imagine Action. We performed, and Roshan will share more about this intervention here. So now I'm going to invite one of our youth performers who's going to share with you how he felt about his experiences. So you guys have to unmute and invite him. Come on.
Come on,
1, 2,
yes.
3. Come on. Yeah.
Hey, Anamitra. Welcome, Anamitra.
He's here.
Hello, my name is Ulhas Rajans, and I'm the father of Neil Rajans. Yes, I'm the father of a boy who has plans for his own future and does not want to become a big businessman like me and please the society. So my name is Anamitra, who played the role of Ulhas Rajans, the father who's also struggling. And I've been doing performances on Raise Your Hands, only if you know the right answer, for the past 1 year. And every time I perform, I get to experience something new and different. This something new and different I get to experience is either through the interventions that take place during our acts or the thoughts of the experienced one or the one who has experienced this phenomenon in real life. There were many people who had similar thoughts, similar oppressive systems, different ideas that arrived at a single conclusion. I remember performing for a bunch of people where the students who did really well in their academics were sent for some kind of football coaching, and the students whose academic results were poor were sent to drama sessions. How can this discrimination even be possible? During a performance in India, everyone took Neil's side, the kid who was being oppressed by both his father, the principal who oppressed the teachers, and all the pressure was added up and tormented Neil. So they took Neil's side because as a united country, our culture is never to oppress a child and pressurize a child until he or she breaks down. But an intervention which I truly thought was worth investing my mind into was a scene where one of the actors in the forum wanted to speak to society. I had also wished speaking to society if I ever got the chance, as I had many questions for them, like how they see themselves in the next 20 years and what was the main cause of this mindset. That would be wonderful if I ever got the chance granted by this cultural universe. So, as that would be very wonderful to interrogate society. It tells us about an entire ecosystem of many stakeholders that work towards creating a culture around education. The education system tells the society the pressure on parents and children. And I think, why as a country do we have a culture and mindset around marks, percentages, comparisons, and social validations? It makes me question, ponder, and challenge notions around it. I am pushed to seek answers, and as a citizen of this great country, I try to see if I can create an impact and drive change. I can take inputs across cultures and see if I can bring the best of each other to my desired one. That's all I had to say. And that's all I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mehrotra.
Oh,
Beautiful, beautiful. So, Mehrotra, thank you so much. And I will have a 2-minute sharing from Roshan, who was also an artist in the performance. Yes.
Okay, so hello and namaste, everyone. So yes, I was also a part of the raise your hands only if you know the right answer. And one of the most important part of this forum theater, what I like is that we showed the struggle of all the stakeholders. It's not just one person, not just child who is facing the struggle in the education system, but also the parents, also the principal and the teachers. So that was the beauty of this forum theater, and so that every person, be it any country, that person can connect with this. And talking about one of the interventions, I really like the way one of the intervention done by Dr. Ellie. She's an associate professor in early childhood education from USA, from New York. So she came and she said that she would like to talk to the principal of this in the forum theater. And she told that, principal, why don't you come and get programs, art-based programs for the teachers, so that the teachers can create more empathetic environment for the children. But here the principal also said that it's not in my work, it's not in my job, because I have to complete the syllabus. I have to make sure that the board, the education system has to work according to what is needed right now. The parents are demanding marks, report cards are more important. So I saw that how the culture, even though she was coming from USA and here the Indian actor was there, still the scenario was same. It was actually the report card academics are given importance everywhere. I mean, that's what I got to know about it. And I also started seeing how report cards and the billboards around us, be it any country, you will see the promotion is usually created around the report cards, around the marks, around the percentage that a student gets, not about the sports or not about the anything else. So that's what I got to know from this. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Roshan and Ananta. Over to you, Nico. Thank you.
oh, thank you so much. This is really amazing and powerful. So I don't have much time really to waste, so I'm just gonna go straight to the next guest.
Sure.
She can introduce herself. Also, our next guest is Laria Olimpico. Please, let's give a welcome to Laria.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm writing some keywords meanwhile I'm listening to you. And the artwork, it was very resonating for me. And as Uri said, yeah, what is really art? It's not separated from our life. And yeah, above all, in the last few years, I think, yeah, that art for me, it's becoming more than expression tool. It's like a knowledge tool and a practice to be present, really present in life, and allowing all the feelings not to express, but really to stay with all the feelings in the moment, you know. And as one of my mentor, that is Roberto Tecchio, is my teacher of focusing. He uses this approach that he calls inside out. As inside, so outside, and as outside, so inside. That it's, I think, a very old, very ancient wisdom. And meanwhile, you were talking, guys, about performance. Raise your hand only if you know the right answer. I appreciated a lot this approach of really consider the struggles of all the stakeholders. And because if we allow all the stakeholders to speak and to really be there with their needs, maybe we can learn something. And so inside, when we allow our feelings, our felt sense to be there, and we are with them, and we allow them to speak, so maybe we can know something, or we can be aware of something. And in fact, the other keywords that I put in my notes, it was awareness, of course. And yeah, space of awareness, space of possibilities. Because, you know, when I was young and I was, you know, in the first adventures with TO, Theatre Audio Press, activists, I was there with this, you know, willingness of change the world, change the world. But what does it mean, change the world? Maybe for me, it was change the other, change the ones that I thought they were not good or not good enough, or what. So for me now, it's, yeah, it's not change the world, but it's, as in theory they say to make the system see and sense itself. And the system, and also, I mean, ourselves. So what about to see and sense ourselves and systems we are part of, and we can learn something about, and we can let emerge possibilities. And so it's not about, you know, change, but it's more like open up possibilities, and don't know the answer, you know. It's exactly, do not know the answer, but search for answers, multiply answers. And when Chetna contacted me and asked about my project, what project I want to bring, of course, I thought about the project that I'm involved in now, that it's called Life, and it's about social inclusion of migrants in Italy. But then I was asking, you know, the question that it's important to keep in mind, what is my real project? What is my real work? So I wrote to Chetna, okay, maybe my real work is about reconnection. And yeah, reconnection to myself, to the others, and to nature. Yeah, to nature. It's now, I think it's a priority. And of course, it's it includes the project life that is about social inclusion, but it's also about my, let's say, work on a living method that I call Stories That Reconnect. And it's about weaving participative storytelling, aesthetics of the oppressed, and social presence in theater, and to hold space. Yeah, another expression that resonates: hold space for reconnection. And yeah, and this brings me to the other thing that I want to share with you, that it's PPLG, that is a conference, a gathering, and it's online this year, of course. PPLG, it stands for Play, Perform, Learn, Grow. And I want to share with you, if possible, the video. I share the screen, or I can put the link on the chat and you can do the technical stuff. I don't know. What is better?
It'd be great if you share the link, because I'm just worried about the time.
So then you share it, Nico, right? Okay.
Yeah, we'll share it now. Share screen.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Nico, we're sharing the screen.
I can see the link here.
Yeah,
it's in the in the chat.
Wow, that was amazing.
Thank you.
I like the end of the video when the question said, "Will you join us?" Yes, I will. That's really amazing.
Yeah, and I want to to thank Elena Bukovala and Francisco Eugenio Benarroyo that are really the arts of this project. And me and Uri, we are part of the international committee, and with Deborah Barrientos, I will be there, and we will co-facilitate a workshop inspired by social presence in theater, and it's called Listening to All the Voices in the Educational System During the Pandemic. I don't know if I have more time, I don't know.
No, not really, to be honest. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, yes, it's okay. Perfect. Yeah.
We would like to hear from you actually more, maybe on the podcast. That would be nice so people can listen to you. Yeah, so we can arrange that. That'd be great. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, today I know my job is to keep time, guys. I know we need to share because some few speakers left, so we need to give everybody a chance to speak. So I'm just going to go straight to the next speaker. Please, let's welcome Deborah Barrientos. Okay, yeah.
Hello, thank you, Nico. Thank you. And it's great to be after Ilaria also. Ilaria, do you need more time from mine to say something else? For Friday? No, it's okay. Yeah, we're going to be together on Friday in PPLT, so all very welcome to be there with us. Well, as normally happens to me this morning, I'm in Sintra. I'm starting from the beginning. I'm from Argentina. I live in Spain, but right now I'm in Sintra in SPT gathering, social presencing gathering with SPT fellow friends, also Uri's and Ruth's friends. And this morning I woke up very early before our morning practice. I will have of SPT, and I just collect some thoughts and just sensing what is important to say about my thrill project that I'm working on. And then after listening to all of you, that there is something that really changed. So I cannot continue with the script or with the ideas because it's everything very connected to what Ilaria brought, Uri brought, also Chetna brought the project, because there is a lot of around that. Just to do a little storytelling of this project that is the most important in terms of impact, because it's where the place that I live. It's called MindGen project. It's a mind generation. It's a project with youth in Spain. It started like this. Last year on my birthday, the city mayor called me and said, "Oh, we have this project. Are you in?" And I say, "Well, I didn't know much." I say, "Oh, yeah, okay, I'm in this. I have a ECS." And I say, "Okay, let's do it." Yeah, and actually I realized that was such a wonderful gift to receive that day. So MindGen it's a project, but it's not a project because it happened already, but it's a group of youth. They are in between 13 and 16 that they wanted to raise their voices in a world ruled by adults. So that, remember what the youth performance said, like asking to the adults, where are you seeing yourself in 20 years? That's our world also. We really want to be able to talk about what is important for us right now. So they went to the city hall. They gathered with the mayor and the city mayor and the youth mayor. And they said, we want to do that. We want just to have like TED Talks and to really talk about what is important for us. So, and then the city mayor called me because I was working before with him in some entrepreneurial project, and they called me. So there I just can really see several stakeholders, the youth, just, having this active position of I want to do something, government and administrations, and say, okay, let's, just support this project. And me, a foreign immigrant in a different country, participating in that. So now that you are talking about stakeholders, it really looks like, a kind of collective thing, very important. Because also we're the families behind the youth, just saying, okay, go for that. So I say, okay, let's start. We were rushing a little because COVID restriction, we could just not meet in person. We started our official work in February. We had some sessions before, but official work in February. I just, maybe I have some pictures, Cherna, if there is any, if you wanna go join. Just, I don't want to just take more time. I have an article and a video about it, so I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna tell you on the fly a little with a picture. I got there the first session and I found 20 silent teenagers. You know, they were not talking to each other. They were not saying a word. And I thought, oh, those kids are going to be at the stage talking during 20 minutes in front of 200 people. Yeah, but they didn't know. They were very different. They were gender, some private schools, some public school, different nationalities. One of them didn't really get the language, religions, you know, were like, maybe Chana, a little like the first picture. And then I'm going to tell you when you can pass the others. Just stop, please, wait there, yeah. So we started with, they were thinking that we were going to be training all the time at the stage, you know, the talks. But I wasn't really like that. The first day we did like, I asked them to go with comfortable clothes, but as you can see in the pictures, they were just sometime after with a uniform school, you can see both pictures. So, but still we did some embodiment practices and with my model of emotional intelligence and creative culture practices around that. And just, you can see the first picture, you know, the teenagers just doing the checking out. And then the second picture is when we are leaving. So after that very first session, my challenge as a facilitator was to keep them quiet because they were talking all the time within them, making group, even though the differences. So now you can pass a little because I want to go fast. I don't want to just be very detailed in the process. So if we have, this is the city mayor and the people from the government there witnessing, you know, the teenagers, we were working with social distances, masks. Imagine to them what was to go on their bodies, you know, they are teenagers, they are not, they're thinking, okay, just notice how is your body? For them was a very difficult question. They were not really used to that. So Chan, if you wanna, I think that Meta has your mic open. That is being a little, there, great. So Chetna, if you wanna go like a little more with the pictures, just to have a sense of the ages and the differences of people. Actually, I wasn't expecting just to, I don't know, to harvest or write anything. And then stop there in that picture, please. But that's why I didn't take much pictures or good pictures. But there, that exercise, for example, where those of the kids are standing in front of others, it's an exercise of social presence in theater that is called field dance, and was the most powerful exercise for the kids, really impacted. And we practice a lot of time with in different ways. And mostly they had wonderful insight about how being vulnerability was much better than not being, how feeling the vulnerability in others was very important for them, and they could connect with that. And they say when they felt the vulnerability in others, they felt love, real love for the others, you know, just beautiful insights of teenagers. I had an article, as I said, and I can share with you, but just to tell you that this big impact also started to resonate in the families and the schools, because we had people coming into our practices saying, whoa, what are you doing? Because kids are talking about it, but we don't get what is the work really about. So, and then also the parents were very interested in that. And sometimes people could come and say, oh, can I stay to watch? And I say, yes, you are very welcome to stay, but not to watch, to practice. If you are not practicing with us, I'm sorry, you have to leave. Some of them stay, some of them left. But just as Peter Block say, you can pass, you know, but it's, but you know, you can say, yeah, I can stay or not, but in a different way. So they were beautiful insights. And at the end of the process, you can just go now with a picture a little more, and you can see like then the day of the event. And at the end of the process, there pictured on there is 20 minutes dance, doing mindfulness on their bodies. You know, that was also very challenging for them the first time. There are some practices of the talks. You know, the talks were about climate change, hunger, psychology, the needs of teenagers. You know, they were all themes that were written by them and picked by them. We didn't do anything, just maybe just a little the storytelling. The politicians, yeah, Pia, thanks for the question. They were joining and practicing with us. You can see the city mayor, stop there, the one is practicing, was behind there. So they were lying on the floor, the city mayor with us, and they were practicing. They did a stack and field dance with all of us. They knew if that they didn't want to do that, they shouldn't have to come to the session. And yeah, and just to say, I don't know, a little more about this is like at the end, they really thought about like things like, I know how to feel, to have self-esteem. Now I know to see how to feel with others through our bodies. What can my body wants to do, can to do for me? What is staying with, resistance of the body? Well, words and things that they all share about it. And you know, some of the king, one, he couldn't even speak when the first time at the stage, and at the end, her performance was amazing. What I really believe what we did is, even that we were training some communication skill, but at the end, because the first 2 months we were only practicing an embodiment and mindfulness, is creating community, creating a collective story that represent all of them. All the differences were merged in a collective narrative. And that because when they were there at the stage, you know, just talking about their talks and the themes that were really important for them, they were being held by us, by a community. So that's the thing that the most important thing. I don't know, it's just what to say, or maybe someone has a question that could ask.
Oh yes, thank you so much, Deborah. Yeah, thank you. That's powerful. For me, I learned a lot today, but as I said, time is really running out of us now. So I think I really appreciate that we're all sharing the space, and yeah, it's good energy. So I'm gonna call the next speaker because I don't have much time to speak myself anyway. So I'm just gonna go straight. Let's welcome Ruth Cross to speak to us.
Hey.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Just before I start, I have a presentation and I was wondering if you could make me co-host so that I can go through the slides myself.
Yeah.
If that's possible. If not, then I can send it to you, but I don't have it downloaded. So
yeah, you can share now.
Fantastic. Okay. So hi. Yeah, first of all, I'll just say what a pleasure it is to be here with you all. It's been such a rich morning, well, afternoon. Yeah, I feel really very moved by feeling, having this sense of all of the threads that seem to be like they're connecting in different parts of the world, and already lots of crossovers through what people have spoken about that I think will enter into some of what I'm going to share about my work as well. Okay, so I'm gonna just share this. Can you see? Great.
It's coming.
Fantastic. So I want to talk to you today about my process with La Bolina, which is a project that I've been working on for the last 5 years, and how some of the work has transitioned during this time of the pandemic. So La Bolina is an intercultural regeneration association in the south of Spain. We work with migrants and refugees, and we grow ecological vegetables that we sell in veg boxes. And we also run lots of cultural activities that are really with the idea of bringing a sense of co-creating the new narratives that we want to see in the world. So I'm going to show you some, next slide. So this is, I love this photo, is taken during a project that we did to try to visualize some of the more invisible happenings in La Bolina. So we did a photography exhibition. This is all pre-pandemic. And also I used to do many gatherings and create choreography, theatre performances using theatre of the oppressed and social presencing theatre. And this would be with groups of normally about 15 to 20 migrants and refugees, and also local people. So that's something that's always been very important for us as a project, to create these spaces where people come together to understand diversity through stepping into the shoes of other people, and to really, yeah, it's like people arrive on the first day as strangers and leave having shared things that they wouldn't have shared even with best friends. So there's something about these processes that I find incredibly potent and powerful as processes for creating a sense of belonging. So yeah, here's some photos of rehearsals. We always work with the stories around people's process of migration and their process of integration, their experiences of racism, but we work with the body very much, using social presencing theatre, for those of you who know about this practice, where we're using very sculptural shapes, and then because often people who are coming to the workshops have many different languages, so we work across language and across often through body language. Yeah, this is a flash mob that we did. But yeah, I just wanted to show you these photos so you could get a sense of the work. Obviously, you can see that that these performances and these kind of very in-person workshops and projects couldn't happen during the pandemic. So a lot of the work that I had been doing was cancelled, and yeah, I had to find new ways of trying to create this sense of community. So during the pandemic, I ran quite a lot of sessions online. And what I was noticing was that migrants and refugees who I had been working with were not able to access the online spaces due to not having the funds, not having a laptop, not having good internet connection. So although I was doing a lot of culture of sort of what I would call culture of care work, the actual connection with migrants and refugees, who we found were the people who were often suffering the most from a multitude of intersectional challenges. And so I had this question, okay, as a social practitioner and an artist, a creative person, how do what do I do to kind of overcome this challenge? And so we set up WhatsApp groups, and we had WhatsApp groups with many people on them. And so we had this way of connecting with people who wouldn't be able to attend Zoom meetings, but we would kind of create theatre through WhatsApp. Yeah, readdressing what we understood by theatre, which felt very, very exciting in a way to really open up the accessibility. I put this photo in because Deborah, who you just heard speaking, she took this. Actually, it's a screenshot from a film. So this was the other aspect of the work that really that arrived very present during the pandemic, that I was invited to take part in a project, or La Bolina was invited to take part in a project called Supermarket Museum. And so this gave us some funding to be able to create small scale projects with just a few people, as opposed to large scale theatre, theatre workshops and performances. And I worked with two of my colleagues, Sharaf and Ernesto, to make a video and a research project really that culminated in a video around the greenhouses and the plastic sea, which is in Almeria. So I'm just going to flick through some of these. They're screenshots from the video that we made together. And the video is really highlighting the living situation of many of the migrant farm workers in Spain who are growing vegetables that are sold across Europe. When lots of the migrants didn't have access to face masks, didn't have time off when they were ill during the pandemic, that their treatment was very different to many of Spanish nationals. So we were trying to speak about that. So yeah, this is just a photo and some information from the Supermarket Museum website. And I wanted to just share with you this. I'm not going to play the film because it's 10 minutes long, but just to share with you some of the images that we created.
It is visible from the moon. People call it the plastic sea because it literally is a sea of plastic which goes on for kilometers after kilometers. Well, maybe not this exact one, but could have been. It costs €1 for this cabbage. In the current supermarket food system, the supermarket will make 15 cents per cabbage. The distributor will make 70 cents, and the farm manager 15 cents. And the people who grow it will earn less than 1 cent per cabbage. I get home late and cook, eat, sleep, and then get up to do the same again. It is the worst I can imagine for my life. I work and live with people who have been doing this for years. They are trapped as they can't earn enough money to move out of this cycle.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to show you some snapshots from that project, and to show you a little bit, if I have time, just that this was the interactive map of all of the many different projects and artworks that were made by different collectives who work with growing and agriculture across Europe. So it's an amazing resource of where art and social action. I loved what you were saying about art and this crossover between what is living art, what is life itself, and what is activism. And I think my work is always situated between these things. So I found that question very interesting. Yeah, I imagine that I don't have much time left.
Yes, thank you so much, Ruth. That's really it's amazing, powerful. That's really good. Yeah. As I said, guys, I think there's so much to learn to each other and so much to listen, but we've got so much time. Maybe in a few days, if you wanna join us on the podcast, can talk to me or Uri. We can have one-to-one and extend your talk through that and share it on the margin action. So yes, I'm gonna call the next speaker because I have 0 minutes on myself. So, and this person is a friend and admire, and yeah, so I'm just gonna call it straight in. Let's welcome Anga Matel.
Yay!
Yes. Thanks to all of you. Namaste. Thank you to all of you. Good morning, good afternoon. Straight on. When the emotional landscape, listening to all of you, now I'm kind of with emotions with Ruth at the end here. So I'm really taken by the culture of care work and the view of the COVID, but also the slavery that is in industrial agriculture. So I'm a little bit kind of taken by you again, Ruth, but also with all of you. So Anmarita, he was also expressing the educational system and the competitive structure of the ecosystems that we've created. I'm so and how we can transcend into some kind of an empathic society. I'm based in fashion industry, so I'm into the art, the story of weaving, literally. So this is a silk scarf produced in China. So my day work is really into the fashion industry and to work on sustainable fashion. And I have also an ecosystem of different projects. I started off very young when I was traveling on the train across Europe, 17 years old. I lived in Austria at the time. And that brought me to work with the Council of Europe in Strasbourg on ethical perspectives and of the multicultural society. So ICL, or intercultural learning, was already something I practiced like early 90s. No, yes, it was mid 80s. So intercultural learning and to work on the story of the arts and sports and the storytelling project of spinning. We have a global culture in trade and business. What COVID has done for us is to make a global culture of cultures. I see myself as a global citizen, and I'm so thankful for Uri and Chetna and Nico and also Hans-Jürgen Oise from the World Climate School, that the COVID has made us to spin and to work together. It's extremely amazing. My background comes from the Library Alexandria. I was working in Egypt at the time, and the Library Alexandria and the story. So with Chetna, I said that the story of citizenship, global citizenship, as we'll be talking about, needs democracy, global consciousness, but also the arts. The comedy and the tragedy and the arts was part of a living and healthy democracy. So that's the story I was bringing when I started working with Chetna and the World Climate School with Hans-Jürgen Rasmussen, who is also in the chat here. We said that the paradigm shift we've been talking about is really, what is this, the pale blue dot story from Sagan, Paul Sagan. And you know it, I'm sure you know. So this is the story.
From this distant vantage point,
this small ecosystem of the planet.
Interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's up.
So that story of this is our home is one of the most important things when it comes for me in global culture and learning. So this, to have a shift from planet Earth to planet water, especially in the time of climate change. I think the ecology of understanding the ecosystems of oneness of the planet. In Indian, help me Chetna, the Brahman, the big oneness of everything. And with working with Chetna and working with the children across cultures, and especially with a team from World Climate School, I think they understand that we can learn from each other across culture. And that's when we're having the chapter of World Climate School, and we're trying to connect like with Nico to Zimbabwe, to Pakistan, to Norway, to around the globe with the World Climate School. And it's exciting. And we all know it. It's the climate changes are here, and it's the climate justice. The weakest one in the refugee camps are even the one that is hardest hit when the winds and the flood and the rain and the ice cold snowstorm comes to hit us. I know I'm speaking quite fast, but I know it's important. I told you that I'm working in a day job in the fashion industry, but as a project manager, I'm working with multiple initiatives and small and big projects, and I'm trying to jungle this, to mix it up. One of them is the C6, creativity, culture, and collaboration to combat climate change. So what we did to structure is a very boring structure to it. It's funded by EU, and we're kind of building up on the creativity on 6 different organizations. So it's 6 different youth organizations, youth leadership. It's like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and UK, Italy, Spain. That is in the essence of these 6 different. And we're working with 2 museums and culture and institutions. So it's really to build up a culture. So what we're saying, we have to kind of define what it is not. It's not the G7. It's not high-end politicians. It's coming from the grassroots. That's what we're trying to build up with the C6 and defining what it's not. Most important for me, having an internship in early age when in my youth at university at the Norwegian Peace Institute. it's to define between peace and war to combat climate. If you're using the metaphor to combat climate change, you have the invisible enemy. But to cultivate that living global culture and citizenship, where we can amplify the voice of nature, we have to understand between war and peace, there's a third way, and that is the thriving culture. At least that's the hope. And that's why we need all creative workers in the creative industries to work together in this, to raise their voices and to make the championship of nature to win, make nature win. So that's the thriving and dialogues that we need to accelerate a united understanding of the climate challenges that is coming very harsh on us, and especially on the weakest one. You know, the pre-sensing theater, from that reference, that is the ULab metaphor of Otto Scharmer at MIT. I started working with them in the year 2000 when we established the 360 and my work with the Library of Alexandria. So that is from the ego to the echo, and that ULab and pre-sensing in that state where we can really have a reflective culture, where the arts are holding the craziness of the leadership of the planet accountable. So the arts and the theater and the comedians is kind of a united voice that we need to raise. And this today, I will really hope it's the beginning, and it's a start. It's a start for us to have this kind of a empathic society, but a compassionate society as well. And then compassionate, as Uri mentioned, the thing of the empathic with the plant, with the trees, with the animals, with the bigger ecosystem that is part of being human or humans' civilization. I think, of course, I had a few things more to express, but I think I'll stop there, or I think I'll stop by expressing that I'm working on the system thinking, but on that scales of system thinking, I'm trying to bridge the rethinking of the thinking. So the system thinking is okay when you're having mind mappings and you're drawing and you have a whole system thinking. But what we need as a human species today is that we have to get our flames on creativity. So the creative art of being human in a day-to-day work is our life is our stage. And that's where we need to bring your artist community and the multiple stakeholders so that we can have the flame from the head to the heart, but also the flame to the bigger universe that's going on and happening around us. So that's why also the reason why I'm kind of supporting the creative meta skills to rethink the thinking. As a global citizen, I will also close by saying that I do see that we have these global events coming on. So it's like the COP26. Yes, it's a global event. It's respect a global narrative with a global culture. And I'm really hoping that we can have a distributed voice in Gaia Fest for coming up for the COP26. A united voice, a global voice where the heart of compassion comes forward. I'm hoping that we're going to bring this forward for next year, 2022, when maybe things are flowing into some kind of normality or building back something of a compassionate society, empathic society, a global civic society where the arts and the sports is assisting the educational system, but also the communities of local challenges that we live in every corner of the planet. So that's, I think, the collective narrative, and I have to say right now, and I'm thankful to Chetna and Rangbhumi team. Thank you to you, Nico, knowing that the creativity of the comedians is where the sorrow and anger and apathic stage gets into a laughter, it can kind of release some kind of tension in our societies as well. So bring some laughter to us, Nico. Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Anga. I forgot my jokes today. I didn't bring them with me. But I think today I came here to learn. Yeah, I had a question for Ruth, but I know we're running out of time because I just want to know, is your work best in the UK or in Spain? For
In
Ruth?
Spain.
In
Yeah,
Spain,
in
that's
Spain.
good.
Yeah, I'm British, but I've lived in Spain for the last 6 years. So I do collaborate with organizations across Europe, but yeah, La Bolina is based in Spain.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure I'm gonna get you on the podcast because I got so much to ask you. And for the last question goes to Anga, of course. And I want to know, is any plans for Glasgow? If you got any, just to share quick, less than a minute.
It could be that we are signing off to be in the blue zone with the Earth Day celebration stand, and it's going to be on music and global culture as a topic. So it's going to be a continuous meeting on that. So I'm hoping, but definitely, Nico, I want to be working there with you on the comedian show,
Yes.
United Comedians for Climate Change. I think that's very important together with you and all of you. And Uri is part of that as well, and Chetna. So this is kind of rehearsal. So this, thank you for the support that is bringing us together. So I want to be there with you in Glasgow.
Okay, thank you. Guys, before I hand over to Chetna, I just want to say a few things about myself. First of all, I just want to thank you so much for having me here. This is one of the most opportunities and to meet new friends and new people and listen to all the wonderful work you guys do. It does give me like a, yeah, I don't know how to say it, but it's exciting. And all I was going to say, I'm sitting in this room. This is my recording studio. So whatever you guys been saying is already been recorded and on the audio. So if you don't mind, I will edit and share it on the Imagine Action podcast of every individual. But if you got a problem, please let Chatna know or Uri that I cannot publish your talk. But I think it would be nice to share these voices to be heard because they're educational and they're very special as well. So I hope you don't have a problem for me to do that. But if you do, let us know. So I'm going to hand over to Chetna to close the event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nico, and everybody. Yes, thank you so much, Pankaj, Yuri, Anamitra, Roshan, Ilaria, Deborah, Ruth, and Inger. I want to also thank Cambodian Living Arts and Asia, your foundation. Thank you, and thank you everybody for being here. If anybody wants to share any comments from the audience participants, would anybody like to speak about what happened? We are open for next 2 minutes more. If you have any reflections, thoughts, we'll wait for that and then we'll close. Yes, Yogita, yes.
A quick reflection and kind of I'm motivated because of the COVID or whatever inner journey or whatever, whatever I start, it starts and then it goes douche. You see? So listening to everybody's story, even I know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Inger. I mean, so many things, different things. So I'm quite motivated that Yogita, go ahead, keep doing things which doesn't belong will go or remain or whatever it is. And this is a rehearsal. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Yogita. Thank you. Yogita herself is doing some beautiful work in playback theater and yoga. And she is a beautiful yoga practitioner and doing some beautiful work there. Emma, you wanted to share something?
So I love the way, we connected from the very micro to the very macro, the power of artists community together. So whether working with the children, the kind of the oppression, the feeling, capturing that from the child, or to building an inspiring movement of climate school, what Inger was sharing. So I think, listening to these voices, and Nico was also very beautifully anchoring the whole thing. Listening and sharing and replicating some of the best practices. If it works in Norway, why not in India, some corner? Yeah, if it works in somewhere in a part of capturing this, and we keep doing this, passing through art as a tool for healing, art as a tool for social change. And it's lovely connecting to so many visionaries here and social practitioners, and how do we apply that art for social change. So that was really inspiring, very, very inspiring.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you so much for coming in. And big round of applause to Nico, of course. Yes, definitely. Nico, and also thanks to Pia. Pia just is here as a support volunteer. So she will be documenting the space and sharing the document with all of us. She also interns at Imagine Action with Uri. So thank you, Pia, for being here with us. And thank you to all. And Hans, please say hi to us. Hans is here.
Please say Hans. Hans.
Yeah.
And thank you, Chetna.
Okay, Hans.
Say Hans, please.
Hi.
Yes, Hans is the founder of World Climate School, and we worked with him and with a school in Rajasthan with him. So beautiful. So thank you, Preeti, Linda, Kolyo, Anjali, Divya, and everybody. Thank you so much, everybody. Emma.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nico. Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
See you guys.
Namaste. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Adios.
Adios.
Adios. Ciao,
Ciao.
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 Ciao.